Alrighty, dudes. So we got our fourth boss of Heroic Castle Nathria. We're looking at Artificer Xy'mox here. So this is a pure single target fight once more. We're going to be opting for Sabertooth, Brutal Slash, Blood Talons, and of course Soul of the Forest there. I am still using Carnivorous Instinct because, again, I don't want to be swapping out, and I'm still using Apex Predator because, again, I only have the one legendary. So on this fight, there's a lot of heavy movement here. Curio could be a very good choice as well if you do have access to that. But what I want to be doing here basically is same situation, right? We rake, we shred, we brutal slash up to 5, we berserk, Tiger's Fury, rip, shred bite until we have about 1 or 2 seconds left to Tiger's Fury, and then we look to convoke, which is what happens here. Now, I'm doing well to avoid these stasis traps on the ground. I want to be careful of those. I don't get the dimensional tear on me, so I don't have to move out with the portals, but I do end up getting focused here by a shade, and I didn't realize it at the time. This was my first time actually doing the fight physically, so I didn't realize it at the time, even though I was aware of the mechanics. So I end up getting mind controlled there, but they quickly take me out of it, and then we just continue normal. We have these stasis traps here where people have walked into these traps, and then they get put into the stasis trap. I do end up ripping these, but I really don't think it's worthwhile. The way that new Sabertooth works, and it doesn't just give, like, basically make your rip infinite, and you do have to still reapply rip at various times. I don't think it's worth going and using a 5 combo point finisher on a mob that isn't that isn't going to be alive for the full duration of rip. Now, I will still ferocious bite them because at the end of the day, they need to die. That person could be a critical healer or like whatever that needs to get out of that trap so that we can continue the fight and try and push whatever DPS check we need to hit. So I wouldn't opt for ripping those, but I would definitely still be ferocious biting and raking them. So I get the dimensional tear on me here. I move out to the desired marker. I'm not at full energy here, so I don't end up overcapping very much. I probably overcapped by like 10 or so energy. My rake and rip were up on the target, so I did about as well as I could have while still making sure that I get rid of that mechanic as quickly as possible. And then we're just DPSing down these stasis traps here. Again, not ripping these. Using my Apex procs in them, that's fine. And then just making sure, obviously, I'm shredding, I'm raking, and I'm brutal slashing to proc my Blood Talons. If something does go awry, and I don't have a brutal slash proc, or I don't need to refresh my rake, but I need my Blood Talons, then I can still make use of Thrash, should I need to. Apart from that, on this fight, I mean, this is quite a critical moment here. So I use my Convoke outside of my Berserk window. I think I will line up the next Convoke with like a Berserk later down the line, but I'm not too sure here. But I ended up just using it regardless. I probably should have saved it and could have like combined them nicely. I do end up ripping here on one of the stasis traps, and then basically I'm just kind of maintaining my bleeds. I mean, it's pretty standard with our single target now. It's kind of hard to get it wrong, though making sure you're aware of all the mechanics going on as well is very critical. You can see I'm just constantly kind of moving around, just constantly kind of on my toes, ready to react to whatever's going on. Boom, there's a stasis trap on the ground. I quickly get out of it, and I'm just kind of like hot on my toes, ready to move, which is, I think, oftentimes a good system to get in. You can be more reactive when you're constantly, moving around there. So there's no reason to like necessarily be fully stacked here. Obviously it helps healers and that kind of thing, but I don't think there's really any need to be like super stacked up. Because I'm a melee and because I'm like technically getting boosted through this, right? Like that I'm going just for the splits here with pieces, so I'm not being asked to really do specific mechanics. I only have to do the mechanics that go on me, randomly, right? So like moving out with the big acorns and stuff that spawn on this fight, I don't have to do that because hunters are doing it and ranged are doing it, so it's not something that I really need to worry about. So I'm really literally just like doing a patchwork fight, or as close to a patchwork as possible, and I'm near enough hitting what I sim for anyway, which is pretty good. I mean, if you consider the fact that there's a lot of movement, but then also the fact that you have stasis traps. So if you account for those two things, I mean, we're looking pretty good here. So we're now going to enter into the new stage of the fight. So once you get the boss down to, I think it's around about like 40% or so, he's going to go into this new phase where suddenly now we're getting dragged in against our will, and like we can't fight that pull. So what you got to do there is you got to wait and delay and delay and delay and just keep attacking the I'm not Spanish, by the way. That was a good joke. And what we do is you like delay and you delay, and then you move in at the last second, take the dimensional tear to the front of the room, and then you're fine again. So I'm gonna be running against it, still just doing my DPS rotation, and then we move in and we're looking good, avoiding those stasis traps. A bunch of people end up getting hit there, unfortunately. We try and break these dudes out. One cool thing, if you're using the inscrutable quantum device or whatever it's called, if you're using that trinket and you get stunned here, then you can use that trinket and it will break you out of the stasis trap. So good little tip there. But apart from that, that's pretty much like the fight, really. We're just maintaining our bleeds. I'm trying to think of like any slight optimizations that you could do. Apart from owl weaving, like you could be owl weaving. I'm not owl weaving because I don't owl weave in this whole raid because I just want to focus on doing the mechanics and doing them well, and I don't want to get caught with my pants down. So I don't want to be caught in a position where I'm owl weaving and I need to move and I'm not got my normal feral speed or whatever may be. I'd rather just focus on a simplistic rotation, and I mean, not that owl weaving is very complex, but you know, like I'd rather just focus on other things for this initial time of doing the fight. Like I've been saying with these, this is like my take on I ran into that stasis trap. I don't know why. I moved into it. I remember at the time just thinking like, wait, why'd I do that? What was that about? But it's all good. I think I used my trinket on that actually. So I used my trinket to get out of it. So it was all good. But yeah, like I think I just think like this is just how I've been optimizing for these fights. You know, there's definitely still room for improvement. Absolutely. But hopefully that was cool, like seeing the fight from a feral POV. Obviously, you can track my button presses down at the bottom right and all that stuff. And I mean, you had my like slight overview, so hopefully that was helpful. But if you guys want to see a different style of these or something that I'm missing that you want to get to know, please let me know in the comment section down below. Give this a like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.